Yo, it's Gorky, and today we're going over Sworn, the new action roguelite that is exactly like Hades. It would be 1-to-1 if they didn't improve and give you so many more options to play with. So I'm going to go over the characters here. I have them all unlocked from the weekend beta that they just held. So this is the standard character that you get, the first one you start out with. He's got a generic sword, slash ability, this is the light attack, 3-hit combo, and his heavy attack. You also get the spell, which you see in the bottom left, that purple bar fills up, and then you can use it again. He dashes through everything. That is the sword and the first spell that he's got, the Blade Rush. Move on to his bow and remote mine. Actually don't know how much damage the remote mine does, but you lay it down and you can set it off. That's his spell. You can lock on in this game, as you can see. Just tapping gives you 15 damage, or you can hold. Kind of got to hit it right. If you hold too long, it goes away. But you see that white line pop up, you get a perfect for 30. And his heavy attack throws a little ball, and then you got to shoot it to blow it up. A really awesome mechanic. Next weapon, the Vigilante, is bow staff and flurry of daggers. Again, you don't need to lock on to hit enemies with any of the weapons. Sometimes it is nice to use, especially for the ranged guys. So this is light attack, 3-hit combo again, heavy, and then flurry of blades, his spell, does 80 damage, gives you a little back step and a spray of blades. He's got chakrams and shadow strike. You can use any of these weapons or abilities together. Don't need to combine them the way I am now. I'm just running through them. So his light attack goes through enemies and comes back to you. His heavy is a quick spin. It's good for applying different things like poison. And enemies not in range. So that's me trying to use my spell, because the spell requires an enemy to be there, and for some reason you can't test it on the dummy, but teleport behind him and attack. So that's the Vigilante. We'll move on to the Rook next. Rook is a bit of a heavier character. He starts with the Great Hammer and the counter. All of these 3 weapons after the hammer are locked. Same with these 3 spells after the first one when you first get the character, but you can buy them really fast. So we'll start by going over the Great Hammer. Just select him. Jeez, he is slow. A 3-hit combo, but it takes significantly longer. It does a lot of damage. I mean, 40 damage on a basic hit is pretty nuts. It does take a while to come out though, and then his spell is a block, more like a parry. So if you do it in time with somebody else hitting you, it'll do 120 damage back to them. Switch over to the hand cannon and bull rush. Probably something you'd want to be locked on for when using. His heavy is just a swipe. See how hard it is to hit without being locked on. It's not too bad. And then the bull rush is kind of nice. Wait for mana, so you can get through enemies like that, maneuver around even though he's a slower character. Great sword, which my buddy says is the best weapon for the Rook. Let's see why. It is significantly faster than the hammer. Nice, and you can hold this. Hit like a ton of enemies. Also has a perfect. It's like right when it hits the edge, if you let go, you get extra damage, but if you wait too long, it's back down to 35. And then the spell here. Ooh, hopped right onto him. That's nice. So you could teleport over stuff. That was a sky drop. Alright, switch over to his gauntlets and Commander's Shield. 2-hit combo, and it looks like, yeah, you can perfect this too. His heavy ability for 96 damage. That is wild. Whoa. Commander's Shield. I don't know what that does. Looks like you get some sort of an aura bonus if you stand in it. Let's see. Place a shield on the ground as a totem. Any allies standing close to it receive damage resistance. Okay. Alright, and now we'll move on to the Spectre. Start off with the Sphere and the Arcane Beam. This character is actually really weak until you get certain things on her light attack, or his light attack. Heavy ability, watch how much damage that does. 65. So the heavy ability is great, but doing 5 damage is pretty horrible. But if you imagine you could get bleed on this, they have stagger in the game, so that would inflict stagger really fast. Poison. That's what this character is good for, and obviously more ranged or support, kind of like your mage character. Other weapons are the Scythe, the Dragon Dive, which is one of my favorite abilities, but I use it with the claw weapon. This is the light attack for the scythe, and you get that 3 spin at the end. Here's the heavy, and then here's that dragon dive again. You're invincible when you're in that ball form, like traveling really fast. So it's a really good ability to have. We'll go to the arcane blades and spirit commands. Need mana. So looks like it auto shoots. Oh yeah, it's that little white thing that's going around my character. And now it's gone, so I'll use my spell again and he's back. You can lock on to enemies. Let's see if it just regens. It does. So it's on like a time regen, but you get 5 throws, and then this is the heavy. Heavy does 20 damage. Alright, we'll move on to the claws, which are my favorite weapon in the game, and the arcane blast. This is the spell, the arcane blast, and then this is the light attack for the claws. 10, 10, 20, 20, and probably the best heavy attack in the game right here. It has some pretty ridiculous range, and it doesn't stun you. Like the Vigilante's sword heavy attack stuns you for a second after you use it. This one does not, so you can really get in there and just move across enemies. It's really nice to have, especially if they're walking away from you, you can keep on them. The monk starts out with the mace and storm call. So the mace is really slow, but here's the heavy attack. It's pretty awesome. This is the light attack, heavy, and then the storm call is amazing too. Especially if you're on a bigger boss who's not moving a lot, or I guess it's just a bigger enemy in general who doesn't move a lot. Storm call's great. Move on to the next weapon here for the monk. The magic staff, an arcane turret. Magic staff is one of my favorite weapons in the game too when I'm playing support. If you are doing co-op with your friends or whatever, this character to be using. That's the light attack right here, and then this is the heavy you can charge. This is the sphere turret. It would probably shoot if there was an enemy. Maybe it's just not triggered by the attack dummy. Okay, switch weapons here to the tomb and the black hole. Yeah, the arcane turret says summons a turret that fires magic bolts at your enemies. So it just didn't trigger because there's a dummy there and not a real enemy because we're not in a run. This is the light attack for the tomb. And you can let it go like this. Only does 8 damage. You can charge it all the way up, you get 40. And this is the heavy attack. Can't really make that shoot any faster, and it locks you at this really slow speed. That's the black hole, and it sucks in enemies too. If that enemy was movable, obviously it sucks them into the center, and you'd be able to shoot through because this light attack goes through enemies. So that would actually be a really good match together. Suck all the enemies into the center, shoot arrows through all of them. And the last weapon, the chimes and the arcane shield. The arcane shield is the thing I was talking about, the blessing. So that stops you from getting hit once. The chimes are maybe the most interesting weapon in the game. Kind of play like nothing else I've played with before in this kind of game. Nothing like Hades weapons play like. Really hard to use, but super fun. This is the heavy attack for the chimes. Thanks for the follow. See the heavy attack for the heavy attack for the chimes does massive damage as long as you hit it at the end. If you're too close, it goes around him, or I guess I could shoot it through him. You see, it only does 15 if it goes through him. But if you're just the right distance and you clap him with it, you get quite a bit of damage. But yeah, that is all of the characters and all of the weapons here in the game. So check out Sworn whenever they come out with it. You can wishlist this on Steam. Beta for Sworn continues until March 31st. Link right here on screen. Co-op works in this closed beta, so I have a lot of stream time playing this. If you want to watch just raw gameplay, you can check them out. They're somewhere below.